Good morning, everybody. My name is James Abercrombie, and I'd like to welcome you to the second edition of Acronis Accelerate. I'm extremely thrilled to be the host on this journey to autonomous IT. And I'd like to thank you all for joining us from across the globe, those of you here in person, as well as those who have dialed in. I'd also like to give a special shout out to our exclusive event partners, Fortinet, Seagate, Equinix, Intel, Google Cloud, and Pax8. I'd like to ask you all to take a second, scan the QR code, and have a look at this page. This page will be all of the information, all of the relevant resources, all of the next steps that you will need when you hear something that catches your attention today. Whether it be registering for our third edition of Acronis Accelerate on October 14th, or getting a demo of Cyberframe, or building with Constructor Fabric, or just gaining access to our AI service desk. This QR code will provide you with everything you need moving forward. Now, to kick off the conversation, our first speaker will share the challenges of this new AI transformation era. Then he will dive into how this impacts and what it truly means for partners like you who are looking to lead with AI. Please join me in welcoming to the stage the Acronis CEO, Mr. JJ Jager.
Thank you, James. Hello, everyone. I'm really glad to be on stage again. You know, it feels like almost yesterday, although May is 2 months ago. A lot has happened in the last 2 months, especially in the AI space. New models have been launched, new investments, new breakthrough innovations and tools and services that all could be very interesting for the future. In May, we shared our vision. In May, we talked about what is the future direction of Acronis, especially around AI. Very high level, very theoretically. Today, I'm very excited to actually start showing you what we have produced over the last 2 months and tell you what the journey is to autonomous IT. But before I do that, I would like to highlight 4 major forces that is now making this AI era very interesting for all of us that we need to take into account, that are important for you as MSPs and for us as Acronis. Let me start with the first one. AI is changing the world in the way nobody has ever understood yet. This is important because if you look 12 months ago and you would ask yourself, what do you think AI will have in 12 months? I bet that more than anybody here would not be able to judge what actually has been delivered over the last 12 months. Things move very, very fast. This is also one of the biggest challenges that we are facing. You know, some of the major new companies that are in this particular space that are now making tens of billions of dollars, they were no companies really significantly a couple of years back. Even though it's not the first time that we go through this whole transformational part, like for example, the transformation from on-premise to the cloud, the things that AI will make different is the speed. But there are also uncertainties. For example, the CEO of Anthropic mentioned very clearly is that researchers do not really understand the AI systems they build. That's a concern. This is also correlated towards what's the strategy that an MSP needs to have. The strategy of an MSP cannot be that you sit and wait, see what's going to happen in the market, and then adopt when everything is settled down. Then you're kind of too late. The strategy can also not be that you try to do whatever comes towards you. As already mentioned, in the last 2 months, we have seen more innovations, more new things, new models, new investments in AI than ever before. The amount of money that is invested in this particular space is incredible. And that means you need to find the right balance. You need to find the right balance, and the winning success factor is making sure that you're on top of things, testing it, making sure that you understand what is going on, and then make quickly, based on the learnings that you have, decisions on how it can help you. The second major factor is AI is changing the way we build and operate software. It is incredible to see that some of the major vendors in the market, like for example Microsoft and Google, are producing already more than 30% of their code based on AI. Even us, Acronis. Over the last 7 months, we have increased the efficiency of generating code by more than 50%. 50% more code generation doesn't always mean 50% more efficiency. This is also where we still are struggling with, because the majority of the engineers are also saying, I do not completely trust what AI is generating. So governance, check, accountability, and control is even more important than ever before, even though we're betting on AI. It's interesting that this is not something new towards us. You see here hosting companies on it. They went through 25 years ago to this transformation as well, where the whole IT world was changed because we went from on-premise to a cloud infrastructure. Applications had to be changed. The way how we do business on not one-time 3-year upfront and monthly payments was introduced. This was a major shift, but that shift took 25 years and it's still not completely implemented. The major difference right now that we see in AI is that this shift is just like any other shift, with one difference. It moves so incredibly fast. The opportunity here also for MSPs is not only automation. The opportunity for an MSP here is becoming an expert and trustworthy advisor towards the MSPs, because that's what you are today. But there are some differences that we're going to talk about more today as well. The third major element is that AI is making hardware and infrastructure completely more expensive. And in some cases, it is so crazy that the demand for server, for memory, for data centers, for electricity is going out of hand. And it's not stopping today. We as Acronis have more than 50 data centers around the world. And even we feel it. We feel it that in the last 12 months, our costs of operating our infrastructure for you as MSPs has increased by 60% on our general hardware purchases that we do for our data center. And guess what? If you have 50 data centers, those are big amounts. But what we have in a very large scale is what MSPs have also in a smaller scale. You have exactly the same pressure, because your growth models that you had in the past was very simple. You win a new customer, you make sure that you have your technicians, resources available, and you buy the hardware that serves your new customer. That growth model is not the same anymore, because your hardware expenses are increasing, which means you need to figure out how you can save, because your customers are expecting still same service for probably even more cheaper price, because you have AI, right? This is a challenge that an MSP need to figure out and how to balance. Your operating model and how you make a profitable business will change. You will have to deal with the increase of pricing, but you also then figure out how to become more efficient on the other end. This is where we, as Acronis, would like to help you with. The last thing that I would like to talk about is the AI is changing the business of how MSP operates. In May, I already talked about that your customers are now moving from an experimental phase to actually, I would like to implement. This is what I do in my business. Can you help me change my operations and manage my AI agents or infrastructure or workflows that I would like to implement in my business? That's what we see. And it's now about 50% based on average research, but it will increase even more. Which means also that an MSP needs to change their business model. Because today you manage IT. But if people or customers of an MSP would like to implement AI, this is not infrastructure alone. Sure, you need to manage the infrastructure, the AI agents, autonomous or manually, but you need to think about, okay, how is this AI agent going to be effective for a service provider or for an end customer? Which means you need to understand how the business operates. That's a change. That's a change of way of thinking. And today, most of the MSPs, like yourself, they use AI, but still based on the simple, I have a question, or can you analyze, can you have a look at this? Only 10% is agentic AI autonomous automation. And that is mostly for internal usage, not even talking about what you do for your external customers. This is the opportunity. This is where I believe, and based on many of the conversations I had over the last couple of months with service providers, and I had many, what they would like to do. Become a trustworthy advisor towards their clients that besides the classical infrastructure, they can also supply autonomous IT services towards the vendors. So what's the conclusion here? I think the conclusion here is that really nobody knows what is going to happen in the next couple of years. This is a major challenge. That means I can also not tell you what the future will begin or where it will go to. But what I do know is that the direction that we have to go together is the direction of how we become autonomous, how we are actually adopting in a very easy way the different type of technologies that AI can help you to be more efficient. This, from reactive to automation to intelligence to autonomous IT, is where we would like to help with our platform. The foundation of cyber cloud that we have built up over the years and now have changed towards the AI foundation is something that you will see actually usable products that can help you to drive that next step to autonomous IT. That's why I'm also excited to be together with you on that journey. So today, I'm very excited to show some more practical examples over the next couple of sessions on how this foundation and the products that we built on top of that foundation looks like. James, back to you.